US stocks have been under a lot of pressure recently, and I want to jump on here and talk a little bit about the recent rebound we've seen in things like US30, SPX500, and NAS100. Let's take a quick look at these three and talk about technical analysis going into this week. So here's the SPX500. I wanted to start here and kind of show you where it seems like we may have found a temporary bottom. You can see, for example, if I just draw this in as demand, that we tagged this level more than once. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 times before finding enough support to get us off of those lows. And it does seem very optimistic going into the rest of the week that we could stay bullish on the S&P 500. This big breakout here was a pretty monumental move for the SPX bulls. So you can see a breakout there and now some follow through. And not only that, we also actually saw a breakout of resistance here. So we had big supply there at 44.35, give or take, and then that big breakout continuing higher. Now the question is, where are we headed, and where, now that we've talked about this, what are the trade setups? Well, the thing that I would say is that it does seem like for the time being, we have found a bottom. And so in my opinion, pullbacks are an opportunity to look to buy retested support levels going into, the next few weeks. February is starting out pretty strong. So let's see if we can look for some trade setups. So in terms of targets, right? A couple targets that I have on the SPX 500, we'll draw some horizontal rays. Major resistance right up there at 45.81, where we found a lot of sell pressure. You can see a massive influx of selling there back a few days ago on the 4-hour chart here. And so that's kind of target number one where we could see price head. Now, again, I'm talking about stair-stepping our way up. So the next level from there, again, if things stay bullish, these are levels that could come back into play fairly soon. So we've got a couple levels to mention. And of course, we've got to mark the previous high up there at 48.16. So these are levels where I'm saying I think that we could see price head next without, of course, we may also have some stops in the meantime. So for example, if you were to get a retest of structure, I think that these are opportunities to look for entries. Now, of course, I'm not looking to chase the market, so I would be looking to cautiously enter on a retest only, probably not looking to buy up in these areas. But the idea being here, if we start to see a little bit of give back, there may be some second chance buy opportunities to target areas like the previous high, 47.50, give or take, if you're looking to be a little bit more swing term with it. But if you're looking for short-term bounces, there looks to be some nice risk reward on the long side, just kind of targeting, a retest of this area with stops below structure. So I do like SPX 500 to the long side. A little breakout here looks pretty solid on the 4-hour and daily chart, and that's kind of what I'm looking for going into the week. It does seem like we have found a bottom with that big area of demand holding, and now the question is, can we get some retest entries to try and buy our way back up to the highs? That is my personal take on SPX 500. Let's take a look now at US30. Our next one is US30, which again, very similar concept. You can kind of see we were putting in some higher lows there, very gradually increasing in demand after that sell-off that we had recently on the global stock market. So we saw that big drop, right? And then same story. There's the breakout trend line that we got just recently, showing that demand was back in full play. And in terms of targets, you've got levels like, of course, here up there at 35.787, and of course here, and the previous high up at 36.956. So a couple areas of interest. Of course, similar story here with SPX 500. That previously broken resistance could come back into play with some nice risk to reward, looking at targeting those levels potentially. So again, we'll set up the trade scenario. I'd be looking to keep my stops relatively tight below structure should things break back down further. And again, looking for some continuation overall, otherwise looking to bail on the trade fairly quickly. Because here's the thing, yes, we are starting to see signs, but we are not quite in full-blown, bull mode just yet. I would be cautious just in case things do decide, if things come back into risk-off sentiment, if we get some strong stuff from the Fed that could put pressure on the S&P 500, there may be some sell-offs coming. In fact, that's kind of what I'm looking for in order to get involved, would be some short-term fear to come back into the market, tight stops below, with the idea that we could rally on to those targets, next levels of structure being at those levels that we previously mentioned. The final one is NAS100, and check out NAS100. We've seen this thing really rally pretty dang strong, of course, being heavy on the tech sector. We're seeing the breakout here and the nice breakout of that consolidation that we saw in the other two as well here, but but the breakout being very strong on the NAS100. So when we look at NAS100, very similar concepts. Targets for this level or for this market could be just shy of 15,000, and then of course we also have levels like 15,319 and the structure here, as well as the structure here, and of course our previous high. So plenty of ways to target levels here. Again, the best risk reward in my opinion would be to wait for some sort of pullback, looking to re-enter on that area of demand, and looking to target zones of resistance that we've marked here on the chart based on technicals. So a couple ideas there for these markets. Now, of course, we have to consider one more thing with these drops. I do want to talk about the VIX. This is something that we don't often look at on the channel, but the VIX is an interesting concept. If you're new to the VIX, if you've never seen the VIX before, VIX, it is a way to measure, generally speaking, the market's volatility. When the market is really scared and there's high volatility going up and down and sideways, we generally see the VIX spike dramatically. You can see with the recent sell-off in stocks that the VIX drawn out just absolute massive to the upside. And in fact, there's a lot of options traders who love to trade the VIX, but again, has started to since dwindle back down as markets have become a little bit more confident, calmed down a little bit. And just for fun, we'll actually go take a look. Here's 2020, right? So 2020, let's see if we can get it on the screen. There it is. So 2020, look at this VIX increase. You saw a incredible run to the upside on the VIX, and then it started to fade as markets regained confidence. So sometimes if you're seeing this thing on the downtrend, it can be a sign that it may be time to look at the S&P 500 for bullishness. And right now we are seeing this thing plummet pretty quick as investor sentiment is rolling back into, kind of positive outlook. I like to think of this thing as the fear gauge, right? The more fearful the market is, the more this thing is going to launch to the upside, and the more confident the market is going to go, the fear gauge is going to decrease and start heading back down the other direction. While we're looking at indices, I figured it may be interesting to take a look at some of the other global ones. Here's UK100, which actually, you guys, has done really, really well. We've seen a really strong move for the FTSE 100 here in the UK. We saw this nice move and consistently seeing these higher lows. So generally speaking, across the market, I am looking bullish on these indices. Both the US and the UK 100 are looking pretty solid. We're seeing these higher lows. And in terms of targets from a technical standpoint, we have got one that's pretty close nearby. And we've got the previous high up there at 76.41, which was a long-term all-time high, right? So as we pull back, if there is opportunities to double back to these trend lines, you may be able to find some opportunities lower time frame. For example, maybe we take a look at the 1 hour chart. We've got structure here, which already is holding. You can see beautifully retested that area already. But if we do double back, there may be opportunities to look for some great risk reward on even the UK 100. If your broker supports that, you could look at that as an opportunity. Now, please remember, this is not financial advice, just my opinions on the matter. But again, pretty good risk reward, just going with the flow and trading this recovery after the dip is oftentimes in my opinion, some of the best trading setups that we can find in the markets. So again, UK 100, I do want to take a look one more with you guys. We'll take a look at NK225. This is the Japanese stock market. We'll take a look at this one, see what it's doing together. This one not doing quite as hot as the others. We're still seeing the Japanese stock market down, but starting to find somewhat of a bottom. So if you do have a bullish bias on this one, if you have this one on your watch list, watch for breakouts. It seems like we have structure here. So if you get some sort of breakout of structure, hey, maybe this one is the next one to join the party of bullishness. So if we get some sort of breakout here, maybe a retest, continuation, and of course, we are pretty long ways off of our targets, or at least the highs, right? We could mark all the way up there at 30,600, but short term, we have a couple areas of interest. Again, retesting, if we can break out of this resistance zone, you've got some levels like this shelf where we sold off big time in the short term, and then also levels like 29.350. So a couple ideas there for you, break and retest, but generally speaking, looking at bullish outlooks on these indices and waiting for breakouts and pullbacks to major areas of support. That's my take on the US indices. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll see you next time.
Interested in seeing our trades live as they happen? By joining the A1 Trading Discord, you'll get a notification every time one of our traders enters a position. Each trade we share comes with an entry price, a stop loss, and most importantly, a full breakdown of why the trade was taken. Learn alongside our experienced traders, join our active chat room, and ask your questions in our coaching webinars. Between our team of active traders, we trade forex pairs, commodities like gold and oil, crypto, and stocks. By joining the group, you'll be able to keep up with all of it. Sign up today using the link in the description, and don't forget to use our promo code listed below for a special subscriber discount. Thanks for watching, and see you inside.